So far, para malaman ninyo, ang student who got the highest, no? Like who got the highest when it comes to the examination, it's babae. Teka, wait lang. I-ensure ko lang.
Lambot na.
Yeah, I think it's Miss Sarmiento. It's Miss Sarmiento here na. Si Miss Sarmiento and the other is a boy. Si Mr. Ranyon. Akala ko si Mr. Ranyon babae din kasi ang haba ng buhok. So, these two classmates of yours got the highest score when it comes to sa examination. And the way they presented the answer sheet. Plus, pagka dun sa may pa-submission ako, I'm very much perfectionist when it comes to submission. Kung ano yung hinihingi ko lang, supposed to be dapat yun ang i-address dito. Wala na masyadong sugar coating kasi why? It's really a gauge apart from your intellectual capacity but also the way you follow instruction. Sa akin, isa yan sa the most important aspect in, of course, converting it into a numerical. So we still have 14 minutes para dun sa iba pa. Kasi we are now 37. So 37 plus 14, 15, 16. 16 individual. 16 students pa. We're still waiting for them.
Sir, nagtuturo po pala kayo kay Belos? Ay, si Los, no, sir?
Yeah. Oh, actually, yung mga base lecture nun is kinreate ko yan before. Way back 2009. Yeah, 2000. Until now. Itong subject na to, sa CPM, I started teaching this sa Mapua 2011. Pero the start of my teaching in Mapua, talaga nag-start ako with transportation. Kasi during that time, hindi naman 122 saka 123 kaagad. Magkakaiba, meron tayong pavement engineering, meron tayong ports and harbor, yun yung mga subject. Until nagkaroon ng specialization na kung saan, bago ka mag-specialize, dapat may mga basic subjects ka. The likes of 122 and 123. Kaya nagkaroon ng 122, 123. Tapos yung specialized subjects, ngayon tinuturo ko, number 1 is yung ports and harbor at saka yung traffic impact assessment. So other specialized subject in transport involves railway engineering, tapos transport economics, tapos special traffic. With the other specialization also, with CEM, with structural engineering. So may ganun din mga subject for specialization. Hintayin natin yung iba before we'll start. Or, may question ba kayo? May gusto ba kayong itanong? So, open. Tapos, by the way, does anyone know if we will be having our class on the Thursday, which is June 24? I believe that's Manila Day. Kasi nung may mga face-to-face pa, even last year, medyo sinelebrate yung Manila Day. So, dahil may kanyang celebration, yung mayor ng City of Manila had an issuance that there will be no classes. I just don't know kung meron ng announcement when it comes to this one. May nabasa na ba kayo o still wala?
Sir, meron pong na-post ng ABS-CBN, sir.
May pasok, Joyce?
Sir, wala po, sir.
Wow! So dahil dyan, Joyce, di-confirm yung yung nire-require kong attendance nyo sa seminar.
Yes po, sir.
Yeah, I am requiring each and every one of you to attend. Yeah, this is one major, ayan, again, one major activity ito. So, kumbaga, that will be another source of my grading points sa module number 2. I am inviting you to attend the webinar series ng Mapua. Kaya ako kayo in-invite doon kasi magle-lecture ako. Para may tagapalakpak ako. Your certificate, ang requirement nyo sa akin is to submit a copy of your e-certificate. Okay?
Yes po, sir.
Right, lahat kayo ay a-attend on that. Konti lang naman yun. Mag-start yata ng 12, matatapos ng 6. So, di ba? First speaker is tamang-tama, James, kasi it's sanitary engineer yung magsasalita sa first talk. Tapos the second talk will be me. I'll be discussing green transportation. For those who are interested to pick transportation engineering as their specialization, that's a precursor already. Meaning, you can determine interesting ba talaga ang transportation, something like that. Clear tayo doon. Huwag muna kayo masyadong naglalabas. I-spend nyo pa yung mga time natin kasi may mga bali-balita na magkakaroon na ng face-to-face after ng medical course. Parang may nakita kong I don't know if it's a fake news, pero nakita ko the government is considering a face-to-face class gradually for engineering courses at saka IT courses. So pag engineering courses, tayo yun. Kaya handa na ba kayo to meet again face-to-face?
Na kasi yung gobyerno.
So you used to practice yourselves na abangan nyo lang yung professor nyo sa Zoom meeting and ayun na. So hopefully maganda ang turnout niya. Sana pero sabi ko nga yung mga madadagdagan na activities involving face-to-face will mean dapat marami ng mga Filipino ngayon ang merong vaccine as much as possible. Kasi it's very important, especially kapag the country is creating a herd immunity. Ibig sabihin at least maraming may anlaban sa infection brought about by this virus. So, among you here, sino rito ang may vaccine?
Ako po, sir.
Sir, ako rin po, sir.
Vaccinated na po.
Wow. How does it feel, James, na yung na-vaccine ka? Masakit?
Sir, sakto po sa klase niyo yun. Nakakahilo po. Tapos, Sinovac kasi yung akin. So, sabi raw kasi walang side effect daw. I mean, hindi raw ganun kagrabe yung side effect. Pero yun nga lang, sir, nahilo po ako. Tapos, gutom na gutom, sir.
Alright. Okay. Tapos after nun, wala naman masyado nag-manifest na.
Wala po.
Okay. So, I think, nakuha mo yung immunity nung Sinovac na brand. Joyce, about you? Anong feeling nung na-injection na?
Sir, bigat dun po sa kamay ko, sir.
Talaga?
Yes po, sir.
Hindi ka naman nilagnat?
Hindi naman po, sir. Pero sabi daw nila, pag Astra ang kinuha mo, sir, mas malaki yung epekto sa'yo.
Right. Actually, ako wala pa ako. Kaya ayoko talaga naglalabas. Kasi yung rollout ng Mapua, actually yung Mapua is merong vaccination program para sa COVID-19. And I think mag-i-start to ng July. Actually, ang nabili ng Mapua is Moderna.
Maganda Moderna.
So, syempre, wala akong mapagtatanungan sa inyo ano effect ng Moderna na injection.
Sir, maganda raw po yung Moderna yung sabi.
Mahal lang, mahal.
Oh.
Ah,
4,000 po, sir. 2 dose. Grabe.
tapos we make bayad dun sa magtutusok at 875 pesos per person.
Hindi ko alam, mahal. Hindi ko alam. Hindi ko napansin.
So ayun, tapos so dalawa pa lang. The rest wala pa, hindi pa kayo nakaschedule.
Sir, ako po.
Ay Daryl, ikaw, anong nakapagpa-incheck ka na?
Opo, sir. Pero, sir, first dose pa lang po. AstraZeneca.
Okay, kasi I think that will be a requirement, no? A requirement din sa mga mag-undergo ng face-to-face if in case. Kasi tatanungin yata yung vaccine at saka yung level nung kung ano na nang nakuha ninyo na vaccine. Actually kami right now, attend kami itong year na to, attend kami ng conference sa Japan. Kanina lang ni-roll out ng East Organization or the Eastern Asia Society for Transportation Studies na ang conference is face-to-face. Ibig sabihin, we'll be going to the venue. And the venue is in Hiroshima, Japan. So, tinitignan ko pa yung level of restriction pagdating doon sa requirements kung kailangan ba yung fair feeling ko kailangan yung vaccine yata is completed mo na before processing. Yung majority of doon sa mga previously students na 2018 is sila nagpe-present din sila and of course I think they're preparing na for that. So I just hope things getting well at saka hopeful tayo na in spite na dyan pa rin yung virus is still pwede na natin siyang kumbaga makombat siya by virtue of the vaccine. Sige, standby muna ang lahat. So, we still have 4 minutes of waiting. So, siguro 10 pa ang hintay natin. Kuha muna kayo ng water din.
Arvin. Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Meron akong mga itlog na ipapadala sa inyo.
Itlog?
Kaya lang pwede nyo ba ipalala mo?
Ano itlog?
Eggs na size.
Bakit? Saan galing?
Dun sa tindahan.
Ay, bibigay mo? Bibigay mo dito?
Oo.
Doon ba kukuhain?
Oo.
Pag ano, daanan na lang namin. Pwede daanan na lang.
Kaya pwede yung bandaanan nyo yun.
Hindi ko sure kung aalis kami ngayon kasi may klase ako eh. Bakit?
Kasi kinukonta ko si daddy mo. Hindi ko matawagan. Pero kausap ko na siya kanina. Kung masasend nyo lang ng lala mo para papaprepare ko na yun. Tapos bahala na kayong ipamigay. Basta bigyan nyo sila Papa Eddie, sila Tita Dory.
Ilang piraso ba?
Nanay, Tita May, Tita Nene.
Ilang piraso?
11 na tray.
Ay, dami.
Ang isang 30.
Dami, Garmin ah.
Naalala mo pag kumakain tayo ng itlog dati? Magpiprito tayo ng itlog walang asin.
Toyo.
Tignan tayo. Tapos lagyan natin toyo.
Si Teres matutuwa yan. Mahilig sa itlog si Teres eh.
Pero huwag kayo dapat kakain daw ng more than 2 eggs a day. Pero pwede kayong magluto ng, alam mo yun, ng mga egg pie.
Ako egg whites lang. Madalas egg whites.
Oo, egg pie o kaya yung leche flan din.
Pwede. Ilan ibibigay ko kay Arvin? Paano gagawin kong hati-hati? Bahala na kami?
Si Dory, siguro mas maraming itlog kailangan.
Marami sila dun eh.
Tapos yung sobra, pwede bigay sa mga tropa, sila Jairus, sila Rod, kung sino yung mga nasa San Mateo. Malapit sa inyo.
Hindi sila sila na lang din, bigyan nung sila Kuya William kasi kailangan din nila.
Sila Baba?
Oo. O meron na sila?
Nagpadala na ako ng isang tray.
Ano na?
Isang tray, nagpadala na ako kay Lababa.
Ba't saan galing yung kay Arvin? Bakit mo mura?
Hindi kasi mabenta yung XL. So, kesa masira, kesa abutan, di ba? Kinamigin na namin. Tapos,
Ano yan?
bibili na lang kami ng mas maliit, ng small. Gusto nila maliliit eh.
Kailangan kainin na agad yung kay Arvin?
Hindi naman. Kasi 2 weeks ago yun eh. Ang itlog ba dyan gano'ng katagal?
Gulat ako, baka nag-hatch na yun, ha?
Dito kasi ang mga itlog tumatagal ng 1 buwan. Dyan ewan ko lang. So siguro, i-refrigerate, luto, pamigay. Maganda i-consume o kaya refrigerate.
Ano na?
I-consume agad o kaya refrigerate.
Pwede. Dito mauubos agad sa amin yun kasi malakas kami sa itlog dito.
Sige.
Malamang din kila nanay.
Bibigyan kila nanay, Pescadori, malakas mag-bake, di ba?
Oo.
Nanay, Tita May, Tita Nene, tapos Papa Eli.
Oo. Wait lang, may message ko si ano para ano. Si Tris.
Pakailangan lang makuha nyo, tapos tsaka na tayo mag-usap sa kung paano nyo di-distribute.
Ano, Garvin, kailan yung ano namin? Second dose.
Yung,
Second dose, kailan daw?
punta kayo dun sa website ng Montalban. Dun yata malalaman kung kailan. Pero mga August yan.
August pa? Tagal, no? Ikaw na, second dose ka na?
Hindi pa, sa July pa.
July pa. Dito nga, ang kulit, yung mga tao, puro Pfizer gusto.
Puro ano?
Nung dumating yung mga Pfizer, lahat ng tao nagpapa-inject na eh.
Kaso ang Pfizer, hindi siya ganong effective sa
Yun
Delta variant.
nga problema ko, Arvin, dito sa Pilipinas. Kung ano yung magandang pakinggan, kung ano yung medyo parang pangmayaman, yun yung tinatangkilik nila. Kulit eh, no?
Dapat kung anong available din yan.
Oo.
Pero alam mo ba ngayon sa Indonesia, nagkakaproblema sila yung mga pinaraan ng Sinovac.
Bakit?
Nagkakasakit kasi iba ng ospital.
Ang dami nga rin dito, Sinovac daw, tiyatamaan pa rin ng mga severe case. May mga severe. Paano yun? Yung ano nila Ate Aika, nagpaano?
Hopefully makapag-pin ng immunity. Pero kung nagkaroon ng gano'n, kasi baka bagong variant din yung Delta variant.
Grabe, hindi natatapos, no?
Nangyayari sa Indonesia eh.
Mas nauna pa yung mas nauna pa oo nga tama, dapat mag-develop. Karbi nauna pa yung mutation kaysa yung ano yun, no? Yung pagbuo ng herd community.
Oo, ganyan din naman. Ganyan din na tawag dito. Ganyan din ang flu eh. Oh shit. Yung iba, may basog na pula at may konting amoy. So kailangan yung piliin kung may gano'n, yun ang kainin.
Para malalaman kaya? Bakit hindi na pwede yung kay Arvin?
Pwede. Kaya kailangan consume na agad.
Hindi kaya ng ano yung lalamove yun. Ang dami nun. Hindi kaya ng lalamove.
Sige, inunukuha nyo ngayon kung pwede. Para ipamigay nyo na lang.
Sinasabi ko na nga eh.
Para naging sayang. Laki ang nag-asok doon. 5 yun, binili ko eh. Hindi ko binibiraan.
Ba't ganun? Malalaki kasi. Ba't kasi malalaki pinili mo kay Arvin?
Hindi namin akalain na hindi pala mabenta ang lalaki.
Ganun. Bagay. Yung iba kasi dumidirekta na rin eh. Pagka gusto malalaki tsaka mura. Ganun dito eh.
Ibig sabihin, hindi pala dapat nagtatagal ng itlog.
Oo.
Na mga 1 to 2 weeks lang.
Mabilis talaga dapat fast moving din siguro talaga. Ganun na talaga.
Tapos maganda, makuha niya na para refrigerate ka na.
Grabe. Ba't yung sa araw kay Arvin tumatawag ka madaling araw?
Ha?
Yung sa araw tumatawag ka madaling araw?
Madaling araw?
Oo.
Hindi na ako kasi may dalawa.
Ah.
Hindi ko medyo kasi.
Oo.
Joyce, can you take now a class picture for the attendance
Plus
first?
picture daw.
Okay po, sir.
So, 11 trays yun, pero ibig sabihin, kung yung iba doon, may mga hindi na pwede, huwag nyo nang kainin. Pero sa ibabang, yung iba may bastard na bula,
Okay na po, sir.
Thank you. Now for the start of module number 2.
Wait lang, Alvin.
So we'll be having lecture
Mahirap to,
number
transport
5.
engineering, mahirap.
Lecture number 5
Sige.
will
Sige, sige.
discuss about project schedule management. Mr. Emiya, nakikita ba yung slide?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes po.
So to start further, of course, taken from the definition of the project is indeed a series of event, pero one-time event. Pag sinabing one-time event, it is now or never yon. Doon pa lang sa statement na yun, ibig sabihin, meron siyang dapat na duration. Duration na later on translated into schedule. Merong specific start and merong specific end. Kaya yung schedule management when it comes to project implementation is very much imperative. So class imperative means, alam nyo na kagad, no? It's important. So imperative is synonymous with essential, significant, at saka important. So you could consider first for any project implementation, dapat meron kayo schedule. So this is project schedule management. So based from, of course, the inclusions on how schedule is derived, is being derived with any particular implementation of project. So ito ang included na mga processes. No? So number 1 is plan. Plan. Out of that plan, you will be defining activities. Ibig sabihin, we will identify what are included activities to come up with a completion of project implementation plan. Then, hindi lang basta ina-identify yung activities, but we really have to establish their relationship by virtue of sequencing. Kaya meron tayong sequence activities as part of the process for project schedule management. The number 4 is, of course, some sort of approximation will also part of schedules. Kasi wala namang perfect engineer na makakapagsabi na ang concreting ay matatapos ng 1 day. Walang ganun. So lahat yan is nagli-lead into estimate. Estimate, it's because much more of a behavioral analysis when it comes to, let's say, bilis ng tao, yung resources na tao na available. Siyempre, mas maraming resources, automatic, mas madali o mas maikli yung number of days na maglalapse or push through. Siyempre, pag konti tao, konti resources, di mas mahaba yung number of days or number of araw para i-implement ang isang task. Kaya, merong tinatawag na estimation or approximation. And number 5, eventually, that's the development of a schedule. So, while deriving the schedule, deriving the plan, one task of the project manager is, of course, we need to control the schedule. So when we say project schedule management, this includes the processes required to, tignan nyo, manage the timely completion. Timely completion. Kasi sa project class, yung owner has an anticipated day na kung saan matatapos ang project, and at the same time, may anticipated day siya kung kailan niya magagamit yung ipinagawa niya. Kaya timely dapat. Management, timely completion of the project. So that involves project schedule management as key areas or not project management. So here are some of the key concepts. So a schedule provides a detailed plan. As you could see, again, it's a plan that represents how and when the project will deliver its, number one, the products, the services, or results. Kasi may mga, of course, certain activities na ang target output is in terms of products. So halimbawa, classic example niyan, meron kayong activity na rebar fabrication ng mga reinforcement. So yon as a deliverables or an output, so that is a product fabricated rebar. So para mag-end ang activity, kailangan makapag-produce sila ng product na tinatawag na fabricated rebar. Services, halimbawa, yung services, walang masyadong involved na product. Yung the way it was rendered lang, so that will become an output. Example, yung installation ng iba't ibang mga sanitary fixtures. Andyan na, given in sanitary fixtures, of course, the plumber will provide service so that it will be linked to, let's say, sa wastewater pipe natin or sa, let's say, sa water source pipe natin if in case faucet ang ikinakabit. So lahat ng mga activities na yon is of course makakapag-produce ng output by sending the service of a plumber. And also, both a combination of both a product and service na generally it's a result or the output. Second, the schedule also needs a platform for communications. So, syempre, dito makita nyo kagad yung coordination, let's say, ng mga direct workers. Kailangan namin gumawa, let's say, ng fabricated rebar para dun sa reinforcement ng column, reinforcement ng beam. So, magko-communicate siya dapat kay warehouse. Hello warehouse, available ba yung bakal na gagamitin namin para sa pag-i-install, pagpapabricate ng rebars for the reinforcement ng slab o kaya ng column. So si warehouse, of course, merong some sort of communication, whether radio to or let's say memo na these are the available products or materials that is subject for your usage. So third, so fabrication yan. So definitely magko-communicate dapat si mga gagawa sa safety department or sa safety officer or sa safety engineer. So pagka-fabricated rebar, definitely it will involve hot works. Pag sinabing hot works, it could be, let's say, in a form of welding or let's say honing ng mga bakal. So it will use, let's say, fire, torch. So kailangan ng safety procedure doon. So therefore, there will be communications. Halimbawa, si warehouse nagsabi, sir, wala tayong bakal. Anong gagawin niya? Makikipag-coordinate si warehouse kay procurement or kay purchasing that, hey, kailan ang delivery ng order na ito. So sa madalit salita, yung schedule will provide for better communication to anticipate and deliver a target output in each and every activity. Kaya ito yung schedule provides basis for communication. Question so far? Wala pa? Nakakasunod pa? Mr. Gabuya, may question ba?
Wala naman po, sir.
Okay, good. The PMT, when we say PMT, again, as an acronym, this is the project management team. Team to, ibig sabihin yung group of engineers engineers to who are managing the implementation of the project selects a scheduling method such as it could be critical path or an agile approach. Ito yung basic na ginagamit, critical path. Ibig sabihin ng critical path, ito yung may arrow diagram na in-establish yung early start, early finish, late start, saka late finish. Tapos in-identify yung number of slots or yung floating days. Whereas, nauso na ngayon nowadays because of the application of the computerization using various softwares when it comes to project management, yung tinatawag nating agile approach. Agile, di ba? This is a word, the root word. Pagka sinabi natin yung kanyang capacity, that's agility. Agility means the ability to become flexible with actual condition. Kaya agile approach. Kasi there's no such perfect scenarios when it comes to project implementation. Sinabi ko na yan sa inyo sa lecture 1 pa lang that yung externalities or yung mga event na nakaka-affect sa project implementation, yung mga beyond the control of the man. Example, disaster, force majeure, tama? Civil unrest, ibig sabihin mayroong giyera, yan. These are things that are said to be considered kapag ang ginagamit ng isang project manager in managing a schedule ng isang project is an agile approach. When possible, the detailed project schedule should remain flexible throughout the project. Ibig sabihin, when you say flexible, it can be updated. Kasi sabi ko nga sa inyo, halimbawa, wala naman makakapigil kung uulan or aaraw. Kapag uulan, normally sa isang construction project implementation, pag umulan will mean an automatic stop ng activity, lalong-lalo pa kung ito ay unbearable. Halimbawa, ang schedule nyo for today is magbuhos ng konkreto. Umulan, would you push for the buhos of the konkreto? Knowing na pagka nagbubuhos kayo, yung mixer ma-expose sa ulan. And even yung pagko-convey or pagsasali ng konkreto doon sa bubuhusan, mahahaluan ng ulan. So therefore, maapektuhan yung strength niya. So therefore, dapat there will be some level of flexibility ng mga entailed schedule sa project implementation.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, regarding po dun sa sinabi niyo, sir, na kailangan flexible po. Pero what if po, kunyari may bagyo, tapos yung deadline po ng project is malapit na, hindi na po pwede baguhin yung deadline ng project. Paano po yun? Parang kailangan po kahit umulan, umaraw, kailangan po tapusin. Di ba? May mga ganong instances po.
Pero kung ako ang project manager, definitely that will be a claim for an extended schedule because of the force majeure. So basis of claim yun. Basis of claim to extend the deadline. At of course, amenable lahat yung designers doon, yung mga owners ng project.
I see. Thank you po, sir.
Kasi it's not just purely ma-address ninyo yung deadline niyo. Siyempre, you really have to take care of your people. Hindi naman mga immortal yan eh. Parang, di ba before, naalala ko noon yung mga normal na biruan dyan sa Intramuros, yung umuulan, bumaha, yung ibang mga katabing school ng Mapua, like Lyceum, Letran, PLM, nakauwi na yung mga estudyante, yung Mapua nagkaklase pa. To the point na, ang sabi, mga estudyante na Mapua, mga immortal. The same is true pag nag-implement kayo ng project. Dapat, we really have to take care kasi dapat pumunta yung workers ninyo doon. Anong main purpose kung bakit pumunta ang workers sa project site? Mr. Gabuya, what's the main purpose? Bakit pumasok yung worker sa project site?
So, sir?
Yes, may question ako. Narinig mo yung question ko?
Pwede pa kayo yan, sir. Iutusan kasi ako dito, sir, kaya medyo...
Ay, ganun ba? Baka magluto ka pa. Magluto ka nga muna.
Hindi, sir, kasi birthday kasi. May birthday po kasi dito.
Oh my God. Ang iingitin mo pa kami. May happy birthday pa dyan. Asan ang birthday mo ba, Mr. Gabuya?
Hindi po, sir. Yung tatay ko pa.
That's a Father Day thing. Sige, makinig ka na lang muna. Ipapasa ko yung question kay Mr. Emiya. Right? Mr. Emiya, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Emiya, the question is, anong purpose, bakit yung mga workers, trabahador, pumupunta sa project site?
Sir, bukod po sa, syempre, kailangan nila magtrabaho, may sinusunod po silang date or schedule na kailangan matapos sa araw na yun. Kailangan nilang gawin.
Talaga ba? Concerned ba nila yun?
Yes, sir, kasi pag di sila pumunta, walang bayad sa kanila.
Okay. Hindi, balikan natin. Basic lang. Masyado ka maraming iniisip. Yung simple lang. Ang trabahador pumupunta sa project site para ano? Yung simpleng sagot.
Magtrabaho, sir.
Very good. Magtrabaho, no? Tama?
Yes po.
We agree on that. Lahat kayo nag-agree?
Opo, sir.
Correct. So, ibig sabihin, ibig sabihin, yung trabahador, kaya pupunta ng site, magtatrabaho, pero hindi para magkasakit. Tama?
Opo.
Tama ba?
Yes po.
Sino yun?
Fernandez po, sir.
Sino nagsalita?
Andres.
Si Miss Andres? Di ba nagpapa-injection yan? Si Andres, tapos na injection mo?
Sir, magpapa-check up po dapat pero wala po si mama.
Akala ko nagpa-injection ka. Anyway, going back, gusto kong intindihin nyo ito, mga future project manager. Yung mga trabahador natin, we really have to take care of them also with their health. Kasi hindi naman yung pagpasok nila sa araw na yun, that's the last day of the project. Kaya, although may deadline, alam natin yan, katulad yung sinasabi kanina na question na umulan, umaraw, bumagyo. Siyempre, yan yung basis para kayo as project manager, you really have to write, to talk to your owner na, sir, yesterday was a storm day. So definitely, lahat ng activities were stopped. Therefore, there will be an anticipated delay. So dapat, ito ay makatarungan lamang na ma-extend natin ng 1 day base dun sa number of days na umuulan. Kasi hindi siya workable on that particular area. Kasi we cannot allow our people na magpaulan para lang i-deliver yung kung ano hiningi ng project. Yun yung tinatawag na yung project schedule is being much flexible. Clear?
Sir?
Yes, Mr. David.
Sir, di ba po kapag nagsischedule, may parang part na rin po na days na parang contingency plan din po? For instances na magkaroon ng unanticipated na pangyayari po?
Sa scheduling, correct. Tama yun. Ayun yung tinatawag na slack timing. O yung paglalagay ng float days. Ibig sabihin, pero syempre, hindi mo na ma-anticipate na babagyo. Hindi mo ma-anticipate na lilindol. Pero ma-anticipate mo na pwedeng i-extend yung deadline. Pwede yun. Kasi control mo yun eh. Pero yung bagyo, hindi mo control yun. So, part yun ng skill ng project manager. Kaya, I am conveying this to you kasi why? Para you will have at least an idea, responsibility ko pala yun as project manager. Dapat pala, hindi ako strict doon sa 7 days buhos. Dire-diretso, hindi pala pwedeng ganun. Paano pala kapag umulan on the 5th day? Ano mangyayari? So therefore, there will be some sort of flexibility when it comes to the schedule. So, tama, Mr. David, dapat meron kang skill noon na about contingencies. For smaller projects, developing the schedule model steps are so tightly linked that they are viewed as single process only. Tapos sabi, it can be performed by a person over a relatively short period of time. Ito naman yung catch kapag medyo maliliit na project na kahit umulan umaraw, some is thinking that he or she can deliver the output of the project. Well, it depends. Kasi based on the period of time as well as yung schedule na tinarget niya, something like that, is might as well ma-apektuhan. So therefore, kailangan may some sort of flexibility. O may question ba with the key concepts on project management? So the process involved in project schedule management is, number one, is the plan. Plan meaning to generate the activity list and all the works to be done to complete a project. So therefore, you will identify what are the activities involved in the completion of your project. Then define the activities. You establish the specific details of an activities that further affects the schedule of the project. Classic example, let's say, na-identify nyo yung activity nyo as concreting works. Ano yung included sa concreting works? Rebar installation, rebar fabrication, forms, at saka, of course, yung concrete pouring. So, therefore, define at saka kung ano yung deliverable sa isang particular activity. Then, the third process for a project manager to come up with a schedule management is sequencing. Sequencing meaning the establishment of the links of all activities. And it should be developed in terms of a critical path method or a network diagram. So, dito na kayo gagamit ng it could be manual pa din, manual pa rin gumagamit yun, lalo na yung mga nasa countryside ng mga engineers who have projects. No? Pwede ring softwares, the likes of MS Project, Primavera, Trello, right? Libre, Project Libre. Then, after this one is the estimate of the activity or the estimation part, the foundation of determining the total duration. Ibig sabihin, in this particular process, you will identify the total number of calendar days, the total number of, let's say, workman hours in delivering the activity. And of course, finally, syempre, nagplan ka, dapat nagde-develop ka ng schedule. This is the integration of all generated information from defining activities, from sequencing, from estimate, sa totoong schedule baseline. So normally, yan yung in-express in terms of S-curve. So in here, based sa mga previous practice ko, when I was still doing project management, ginagamit ko lang dito Excel, yung Microsoft Excel. Kasi very powerful siya, lalo kapag nag-derive siya ng S-curve. So doon, very effective on telling, let's say, a particular activity should be delayed or not in any particular specifics. Question so far?
Wala naman na po.
Wala pa. So, class, itong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 na to, lalong-lalo sa in charge sa inyong knowledge areas, no? So, gusto kong magkaroon kayo ng mga, let's say, one statement for this one. So, let's say, if you're the in charge of the group in discussing knowledge areas. So, how will you discuss schedule management? So, schedule management is by starting with the planning, with defining, sequencing, estimate, and of course, the finality or the derivation of the report. Isang sentence lang siya. That's how I will anticipate and expect for those who were in charge of the knowledge areas of your project. Yeah, we developed the schedule based on the 5 processes involved in schedule management. At first, we generate all involved activities that might be implemented to complete the work. Example, if your project is hospital, so normally, so we start with clearing. So clearing, then if there will be some sort of demolishing a existing structure, we will include that also. Then, of course, in a nutshell, while dealing with the land, so to come up with a good foundation of the building, so these are another activities, of course, excavation, to the point that we concreting, so steel works, and so forth and so on. So that's how I will expect yung knowledge areas when it comes to schedule management. Kasama dito yung control, comparing planned schedule versus actual schedule. Ito naman, using S-curve. Yung S-curve, the plan S-curve versus yung actual S-curve. Para makikita nyo rito, this will further tells that if your project is behind or your project is advanced or ahead of the schedule. Now, dito nyo kagad malalaman na, yeah, you have to do something, you will do catch-up scheduling since you're delayed kasi yung plan ng schedule is a parameter para malaman on the degree, on the conditions of implementing a particular project. Sir, meron na tayong delay ng 7 calendar days. Ano gagawin natin? Something like that. So at least that will serve as an input so that the project manager can decide whether to write the owner on the possible claims of extending the duration of the project, thus the turnover should be adjusted, something like that. Sa plan schedule management, it is the process of establishing the policies, the procedures, and documentations for planning, developing, managing, executing, and controlling the schedule. Again, it's planning, developing, managing, executing, and controlling the schedule. The key benefits of the process is to have a guidance. So it will be a parang basis about how the project schedule will manage throughout the project, will be managed throughout the project. So in defining activities, this is the process of identifying and documenting the specific actions to be performed to produce project deliverables. So identifying and documenting. So pwedeng decomposition, pwedeng rolling wave planning, pwedeng meeting. So that's how you will identify based dun sa, let's say, during the planning stage of deriving the schedule. So when we say decomposition, ibig sabihin scrutinizing it from, let's say, from a point of view from macro down to the micro until sa mga maliliit na mga details about activities. Pwede ring rolling wave planning. When we say rolling wave planning, you will use mga previously existing tasks that will be involved similar doon sa inyong project proposal. Then third is meeting, meaning deliberation or discussions. Then expert judgment. Kaya talagang ang project manager also parang judge din yan. Kasi why? You as a project manager can deceive, can be deceived doon sa, activities na supposed to be included or not included in an area. However, yung discernment naman ninyo on whether a particular activity is needed is nasa sa atin din. Kaya itinuturo with this particular subject of RCE 168 that, hey, kailangan pa pala itong activity at, ay, hindi na kailangan to and so forth and so on. So, expert judgment. Kaya hopefully, pagka kayo ay civil engineers na over the next 3 years, makita nyo yung sequencing ng mga activities. So, these are some of normally ginagamit kapag nagpa-planning kayo. Halimbawa, you will put here as an activity list the type of the project. So, ano bang project? Mr. Emiya, ano project ninyo?
Yung ano po, two-story na still design parking garage.
Okay. So, Emiya, lagay natin dito yung two-story elevated parking, correct. Date prepared, halimbawa, kung kayo sa practice, ngayon nyo sisimulan, date prepared, lagay lang dito. Who's the project manager? Engineer Emiya. Tapos lagi nilalagay yung last updated. Ibig sabihin, kailan nyo binalikan tong form na ito. Then, yung WBS ID, halimbawa, yung work breakdown structure ID. Let's say, coding ba A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Roman numeral I, L, V, and so forth and so on. Then, put the activity name. Okay? Sa yung two-level car parking, syempre, meron niyang activity name, clearing. Ibig sabihin, actual na to. Pero, pwedeng lagay nyo rito, construction activities. Kasama dyan yung, of course, yung permit, temporary facilities. Yan. Sa, let's say, permit, activity description, securing of necessary permit prior to the implementation. Ano ang assigned resources doon? So, Emiya, kapag kakuha ng permit, anong mga resources dapat kailangan mo?
What do you mean resources po, sir?
Para magkaroon ka ng permit. Anong mga resources kailangan mo?
Kailangan, sir, syempre, makipag-usap ka sa administration ng Intramuros muna. Kasi, yun yung sila yung nag-handle ng Recoletos area.
Hindi, ano yun? That's already stakeholders engagement yun. Hindi, yung requirement mo lang para makakuha ka ng permit. Anong resources? So, syempre, sabi mo kailangan mo makipag-usap, tama?
Yes po.
So, anong resources doon?
Kailangan mapakita mo yung project plan nyo.
Ano pa? Hindi, yung resources lang, yung resources. Ano ba mga resources na dinidiscuss sa inyo?
Tingnan mo yung chat ko.
Kanina kakabanggit ko lang, di ba? So resources, Mr. Emiya, dapat para makakuha ka ng permit or magkaroon kayo ng permit, ano dapat? Kailangan mo ng tao. Tama? Resources. Sino makikipag-usap? You're discussing na makipag-usap. Sino makikipag-usap? Eh di tao. Tama? Anong klaseng tao?
Tapos, iba pa.
So ilalagay mo dyan. Kailangan mo dyan yung project manager. Project manager, sabi mo to talk with Intramuros Administration, that's okay. Pwede ring liaison officer, pwede ring owner, basta kailangan tao. Kasi hindi mangyayari yung pag-uusap kung wala kayong tao. Tama? Pangalawa, hindi pwedeng chika-chika lang, kwento-kwento lang. Ano pa kailangan? Automatic, kailangan nyo ng pera. Diba? Hindi pwedeng kwento-kwento lang, pumitik lang kayo ng kamay nyo yung ay permit. Wala. Binabayaran yun. So therefore, isa sa resource din doon is money. Tama? Next. Okay tayo with the preliminaries. So how about, kunyari ang activity name mo rito ay excavation. Excavation. Miss Kabanayan, you have excavation ba na na-identify sa inyong activity? Sa project ninyo?
Meron po, sir.
Yeah, what's your description? Bigyan mo ako ng description. What is excavation? Is a what? Kunyari, mag-fill up ka na rito. Na activity name excavation. Ano description ng excavation? Parang i-define mo lang siya. I-define mo lang excavation. It's of course what?
For digging po, sir.
Digging, of course, up to certain level where the foundation is to be laid. Ganon yun. Ganon kasimple. Tama? What is the resource? Ano mga kailangan mo doon? Na resources. So, kailangan mo ng equipment, kung kailangan mo ng backhoe. Siyempre, yung backhoe, hindi naman tatakbo yun kung walang operator. Tama? So, kailangan mo ng tao. Siyempre, yung backhoe, hindi rin naman, kahit may operator yan, hindi yan tatakbo kung walang spotter. Yung spotter, yan yung taong nag-guide doon sa area. Para kung mag-swing man yung hoe niya, wala siyang matatamaan just for the safety purpose. Siyempre, may operator ka, meron ka dapat supervisor. So, sa madali sila, this is already a combination of manpower resource at saka ng equipment resource. Kaya meron tayong equipment loading saka manpower loading. Until such time na mabuo nyo yung work breakdown schedule din. So yung mga nakalagay o mga sa bawat group, yung naka-assign dun sa project schedule, I want you to develop this one first. So on the process, tapos pwede nyo ipa-check sa akin ano yung mga involved dun sa mga activities din. O, clear tayo dyan. So that's how I will expect yung sa project schedule, yung point person ninyo pagdating sa project schedule. Question so far? Sir Fernandez, you have question?
Wala pa naman po, sir.
Halimbawa, ito yung classic example. You have the activity list already. May work package kayo, let's say, website documentation, let's say, installation o kaya production servers. Ito yung mga activity ninyo, user manual, analysis document, technical document. Tapos nag-coding kayo ng activity ninyo. By the way, ang coding, pwedeng letters of the alphabet, pwedeng numerical, pwedeng Roman numerals, pwedeng Arabic. Well, it depends on your activity ID. Para this is parang a unique coding of yours when it comes to naming your activities. Para later on, sa mga discussion nyo, hindi nyo na kailangang isulat ng user manual activity. It's activity D has this. So description, user manual, so prepare, and so forth and so on. So that's how. May description dapat yung activity. May question regarding this one? Again, papalitan nyo lang ito ng iba't ibang activity list niyo. Ano mga nandoon sa scope of works niyo. Then, you put your own identification code. Then, describe it, define it, kung ano yung gusto nyong sabihin operationally doon sa activity niyo. Technical documents, ano po yan? Magpe-prepare mo kami ng description ng tables sa kanang fields of the database, something like that. Sa sequencing, the process of identifying and documenting the specific actions to be performed to produce project deliverables. So these are some of the tools and techniques. Ito yung, sino ba nagsabi kanya? Si Mr. David. Mr. David, ito na yung kanya sinasabi mo about dun sa contingencies. Naalala ko, tama ba Mr. David? Pagdating sa schedule?
Yes po, sir.
So this is the exact discussion of sequence activities as a tools and techniques para sa isang project manager who's implementing a project. Number 1 is PDM, or yung tinatawag na precedence diagramming method. Number 2, dependency determination at saka integration. Number 3, leads and lags. Ito yung tinatawag na slack time. Yung pwedeng mag-delay ng konti yung activity pero hindi madidelay yung buong project. Kasi naglagay kayo ng lags. Saka PMI, or yung tinatawag na project management information. Bago ko i-discuss to, we'll pause for a break para medyo refreshing. Mag-ano muna kayo, mag-stretching muna kayo dyan before we continue. Miss Lee, what's the time with you?
Sir?
Time?
2:12 po.
2:12. So, we'll come back. After 15 minutes, mag-break muna kayo. Baka para refreshing yung scheduling technique natin. Okay? 2:30. Miss Lee and the rest of the class, 2:30.